Finally, another project in a video. I've been trying to do some things and I really haven't had much time to make the videos. It takes time to download and all that, but time to get the bush hog in order for this spring here for some work going on. But had a little bit of an overheat. This should have been a plastic shroud here that protects that. That is melted now. I've busted some of it off too. Got to get to the bolts here. The rust is a sign of some overheat. However, inspecting the bearings, like the rotation is fine, the oil is fine. I just had an overheat here, what's called the friction discs. This is the slip from the PTO shaft connecting to here with friction discs in between. There's two of them. And when it's enough force that it's hitting, like say it hits a stump or something like that, it can rotate and this will give. And but most of the time it's compressed. And you have springs behind these tightened up in an even pattern that keeps the right tension on them. However, what if I said this overheat was from a radio in a tractor cab? Yeah, well, it kind of is. I was bush hogging, totally enjoying it, cutting the field down, and had a long row to go. Man, I've got my sight on a thing on the other side and get almost to the other end, and I happen to look back. I'm just jamming away, and man, there's smoke coming up from this right here, and I hadn't cut much of that whole row. Just distracted by the radio. Should have been looking more often. That is one of the, say with a cab, you don't hear the same, but I should have noticed that. So anyway, I got to replace this. This is one of the old discs. It's in pretty bad shape. This is one of the new ones. So there'll be two of these go in. But these, if you start, there's little metal fibers. You don't want to handle these really with your bare hand. But let me show you the next thing about getting this off. All right, we have got to pull this off of the shaft. Anyway, it's kind of bright out here. I can't really see that well, but this has got to be pulled off. Now I went through a cycle, PB blaster, soaking it for a couple days, off and on, front, back, whatever I could get to, and then started using a regular 3-arm puller, which is totally disassembled now because it didn't last. The threads gave way. These are very, very thin threads, Harbor Freight kit, and it did not like this at all, and the threads just gave way there and it was toast. So I have ordered a hydraulic one. So let me get that on there. I'll set up the camera. Let me get this pulled off all the way so we can get the second one out, second one back in. Plus I'm going to go ahead and clean this up as well. It's moving. Oh, there it goes. I think it just got set. Yeah. Okay, she's loose. we're back on it. I'm not going to be able to talk a lot. I got the tractor under the carport here, and the retainer clip come in. I'll explain some more of that in a little bit, but I've had a tooth pulled, and boy, this paper here is swollen, so I'm off from the fire station today. I'm on some pain medicine, so I'm just doing something. I finally had to walk out of the house and go do something, so I'm not sure how long I can do this, but we'll get the retainer clip on and keep working on this baby, but we're close to getting it back together. All right, now that the clip is in, I did not hit record right whenever I did it, but what I'm going to do is go ahead and get this shaft hung on the hanger here, just to kind of help hold that. So it'll hold most of the weight of it. And let me get a shot to the side. We've already got one of the retainer disc in. I just got to get this one in held on that. So let me get to the side here. Alright, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a couple of the bottom bolts in and have something to set this part on in the holes, and then I can get the disc through from the top instead of trying to hold it all together at the same time. So now here in a bit too, after I get going, we'll clean this up and get all that re-greased. Okay, now we'll get these pulled back. Let's get this disc in. And we will situate that disc a little better once we get all of them in. Alright, now these are going to have to go on here, but we're going to have to get it close enough to even get something started. I just want to get one of them on right now. Pull that together. We're going to get on to the actual tightening here in a second. I've got my calipers out. I'm going to show how this is done per the manual, but this actually is a good point to show what this is supposed to do. You've got the two discs in there. Kind of see it on each side of that center disc. So if you watch this not rotate and you watch this system, if this starts to load really heavy, see how that's slipping? Maybe it's easier to grab onto here. It's friction plates, and that's pretty cool. So you still got the drive shaft turning, but not turning that. So if it hits a rock, bounds up, whatever it is, and overloads, or if someone doesn't do the maintenance and tighten these occasionally, check the length and all that. But yeah, it's just a slip clutch system, and it's actually a pretty good design. But once those start slipping, as soon as it slips, generates heat, and bada bing, you got heat. So let me go get the other stuff and start explaining the tightening up procedure. Alright, so you're going to have to look in your manual, make sure you know which drive line you've got. It's not real easy to tell, but if you look in the parts manual, you'll see the difference between a shear bolt, slip clutch, whether it's the 1862 or 18, I can't remember the other one. Mine's an 1872, RCR1872 model, and looking at it, this spring length needs to be between 1.27 inches and I can't remember the top part. But right now I've just did this first one just to kind of see. This is 1.27 right at it. Now I do need to make me a little piece of angle iron. That's this exact length. I can kind of keep in the tractor in case I need to make some field adjustments or something. But I'm going to go through, actually go to the other side. I'm going to loosen this a little bit. Get them all pretty close. See, it's almost like a wheel. Kind of get it progressively squeezed in there in a cycle, side to side and so on, just like you're putting a tire back on. But let me start getting these snugged up. All right, well, that went okay. It's almost like tightening up a tire rim when you're starting to torque down things. And it would be a lot faster if you make the adapter piece or the piece of angle iron and it's just there and you can just go piece to piece on it or something. Or if you had a piece of pipe just over that ID, over this OD of the spring, slide it on there, and then, you know, that would be actually a little bit easier, I think, just to fit over top of here instead of holding a piece of angle iron. But I did notice I went around and they were all pretty close, and then when I went back around again, I really had to do a couple more turns. So it looks like it's pretty good. I'm going to clean up this part now and get this greased. All right, I know this was good before, but I'll go ahead and check it anyway. Go check the oil level in there. You know, it would be actually pretty smart when they cast this box, gearbox. They would have not done this recessed, and you could get a wrench on it instead of having to use a socket. But that is a, was I get a 19? Yeah, it's a 19 millimeter. But let's see. There we are, right between the two marks at the bottom. We're good. Giving it almost more like an oil bath in this box. So, tighten this back up. Just do a reasonable amount. And then we'll fire this up and just do a couple run tests on it real quick. And then another time we'll load test it. All right, in between it gets tightening, you can see this puppy right there is swollen a bit. I'm gonna get some ice on this thing, call it quits for now. Just, I don't know if I recap. Yeah, I guess my lesson learned this time is pay attention while you're mowing, not too much to the radio. You gotta look back really frequently. I'm mostly looking ahead, making sure nobody's approaching, but yeah, as soon as that starts smoking, you're pretty much done with those slip discs on it. Not a bad job. Only negative really has been the safety appliances that are attached onto it. But yeah, maybe something else on that ahead. I think I may add something onto the end here. I hope I do. That was about finding which drive line this is, because it wasn't real clear to make sure of the distance that you need to do the spring. So let me do an add-on to the end of this video, and hopefully that'll help somebody else. Everything ran fine. I'm going to reiterate again. It says if the guard is missing, do not operate. And the guard is missing, but I operated it. So yeah, don't do that. But at the same time, I'm going to ask him, don't make this design again, because these little clips and button turns, well, they're kind of cheap. You got to take them off to do some maintenance and do some things on them, and they're just, I don't know. It doesn't work. But I'll tell you this. I wouldn't be near this thing even with the with this thing operating with the PT shaft guard or PTO shaft guard on there. So yeah, I mean, it's a safety device. Absolutely use it, but I don't go near anybody when this thing is operating, and it's shut off when I go to the back. But anyway, everything went fine on the test. Maybe I can clip some video over top from the tractor. I got to remember to get the card out of the tractor actually, but let me go on and show you which drive shaft this is so you can tell, or whichever one yours is. Right, I promised a little bit of a definition or something, help it make sure of which one of these that you're going to need to do for your mower. But look in the table of contents, you'll see the section page 16 through 38. And it lists the types of them with the numbers and so on. Then you've got the part for the spring tension. Now, one thing I did notice very quickly, it was very easy to rule this one out because man, if you actually compress the spring to 1 inch, and this one too, on mine, which is this one, you would actually have to compress the metal, like it would totally collapse them and squish steel. So that was kind of obvious. But here's what you need to do to be able to tell it. You need the model, and you need to be able to see which clutch system or slip system that it has. So let's take a look at these. So this is the, so in each one, there's 2 things you need to look at. This is the model. This is a RCR1860, which is not mine. So I know that this is not the one with that driveline model or number in this table. But it is a slip clutch system. Over here, you have a RCR1860. And so the model is wrong because it's not mine. But this has just one of the shear bolts in it instead of a slip clutch. So both of these are not my model, but it may be your model. Over here, we have the RCR1872, which is correct, check mark. And this has the shear bolt, which is X. This is not mine because I have a slip clutch. This one is a RCR1872, and it's a slip clutch. Therefore, it is the 826656C. And you just go back to RCR1872, 82665C, and it's going to be 1.27 inches to 1.31. So that's what you need to do. I hope that helps a little bit. And yeah, anyway, have a blessed day. We'll see you soon.